So connections, it's about the smart home. Well, smart energy is part of the smart home, I suppose. So Tom, you moderated a panel, and one of the takeaways from that panel, which had various service providers, energy service providers, as well as Kevin Peterson from AT&T, my kind of question was, where could telecom service providers play into this convergence of smart home, smart energy?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I think the point that Kevin was making is that energy as a value proposition is not compelling enough from a consumer. Really, they're selling their systems based on the safety and security and other value propositions that resonate more fully with consumers.
AT&T is.
Absolutely, and I think that's probably true for Comcast and others. Now, I think Comcast might be a little different in that they have a bit of a leadership position. They offer an enhanced energy service, right, that comes with either the elite package or you could pay a little extra for it. But that opportunity, right, Comcast has recognized it. Kevin didn't see it as a significant win. Now, when posed the question though about, you have some installed assets in the home, is it an opportunity for you to take those assets and work with the utility providers to pass on some benefits to both utilities and then to your customers, right? That is an opportunity that certainly everyone in the room recognizes, and the people who are facilitating that, or specifically Seth and some others on the panel, right? That they obviously see that as a significant opportunity, and they built their business model around it. But in terms of the service providers, selling that or being as a lead value proposition, unfortunately, that's not the case at this point.
And that was kind of, I think we saw this on another panel, the whole idea of how do you make something out of all this analytics that is there, but the consumer doesn't get it. How, are utilities, is there an opportunity there to do more than with what's there?
So the analytics, just like the network and all the technology, should just fade away into the background. And really the analytics just rear themselves when you see these moments of delight, that things happen and systems make smart decisions on your behalf. That's the analytics, that's the intelligence working in the background, whether it's your thermostat, understanding that the energy cost is a little less perhaps in the afternoon than it is in the peak periods, and pre-cooling your house for you, right? And not making you uncomfortable, but basically providing you comfort at the lowest cost, right? You get a lower energy bill. That's advanced analytics that's working for you, and it's really not in your face, right? It's not something that you're asking even the consumer to understand. You're just giving them the benefit of that.
Yeah, I think someone said it here at the conference, really eliminating the interface, right? Automating instead of having an interface.
Yeah, that was, I think last year there was a keynote from Nest, and they said, it's really a delight when consumers stop using our user interface. And that user interface, or the app, if you will, is the primary user interface. That's interesting. Maybe that's reached its apogee in terms of the connected home, right? That is a primary user interface today, but we certainly see some alternative technologies that are kind of rearing their heads, and automation is certainly one, voice is another.
One of the things, hearing the Vivint fellow speak, and he was talking about smart home, but it made me think, and it was mentioned the community solar and so forth, but, could there be opportunities, and maybe not for the large operators, maybe so, but opportunities for them to get in the solar business, for instance, and distributed power business, even though they're a traditional, say, telecom service provider?
Yeah, certainly, I think everyone would want to consider it, right? But the skill sets that are necessary are not necessarily complementary. So they would, to be a solar provider, you need to be an electrician. You're installing some electrical gear. You're, essentially mounting things on the roof. So you have roofing skills, carpentry skills, as well as some, connecting up to the electrical grid, which is, requires electricians. So I haven't seen any telecoms move in that direction, but just like everything else, right? They're looking at every opportunity as incremental, every evolution, if you will. And when solar and distributed energy kind of reach a tipping point, right now it's really, in the hundreds of thousands of units, right? But when it starts to grow more dramatically, I'm certain that some of them would consider it. And the guys at NRG, right, who are in the energy business and in the solar business and in the smart home business, obviously they see that relationship of having multiple services already.
Well, and that was the thing I think that caught me was the fact that those kinds of players, once they have that and they have those touch points of Wi-Fi connected inverters and so forth, suddenly that's their entree into the smart home, right? And they could be the smart home provider.
Yeah, well, exactly. Sun Edison was saying that they really are getting asked to do a lot of things that are more advanced, right, and that provide more utility, provide more value to the consumer, rather than just provide just this secure, reliable connection and reliable energy at a fixed cost, right? Hedging your risk in terms of increasing energy costs. That's the starting point, and that's their selling proposition. But once they're there, again, there's a lot of opportunities to integrate with other things and make significant more value for the consumer.
Yeah, and having just installed solar, I could see where the solar provider who installed it could have added a lot of value, into the smart home part.
Yeah, well, so there's some advantages from a solar provider as their business model. You're financing over a significantly long period, so you can, the upfront cost, if you will, by throwing in some, say, smart thermostats or some other smart home components, really has almost a negligible impact, right? If you add a smart thermostat to your mortgage, right, it would essentially, you wouldn't be able to see it. So there are some business model advantages for the solar industry if they wanted to make that play. Again, they have the competencies of electricians, and it's kind of these core trades that could move into the low voltage, which is the security industry and the kind of home control space, a little more easily than moving the other way, right? Moving from low voltage to a higher voltage.
Well, it looks like there's definitely still a lot of change in this industry. So, Tom, I appreciate catching up with you.
Yeah, thanks a lot.
Thanks.
We appreciate it.